Compare forestry in Kenya and Canada under the following headings. Transportation of logs. In Canada, logs are transported using meltwaters, i.e. floating down rivers or skidding on frozen waters, while in Kenya transportation is by road, i.e. tractors and lorries and trucks. In Canada, logs are transported using rivers, while in Kenya transportation is by road. Harvesting. In Canada, felling is done in winter and early summer, while in Kenya it takes place throughout the year. In Canada, harvesting is done through clear cutting, while in Kenya it is done through selective logging. In both Canada and Kenya, commercial logging is mechanized. In both Kenya and Canada, power saws and axes are used. In Kenya, workers are transported daily to the sites since there are no camps for workers close to the forests, while in Canada logging involves setting up of settlements for worker within the region. Distribution. In Kenya, softwood forests are mainly found in western and central highlands, while in Canada they are found in both highlands and lowland areas. In Kenya, softwood forests cover a small percentage of the total land area, while in Canada softwood forests cover large tracts of land, approximately 70% of the total land area. Climate. In Canada, due to low temperatures, softwood tree species take long time to mature, while in Kenya, moderate temperature encourages faster growth and maturity of trees to take place. Altitude. This influences both rainfall and temperature. Very high altitude, e.g. over 3,500 meters above sea level, are not suitable for plant growth since they are too cold. The lower levels of the tropical mountains are suitable for forestry growth of trees. Trees species. In both Kenya and Canada, softwood tree species are indigenous, while in Kenya they are both exotic and indigenous. Marketing. In Kenya, most of the wood products are sold locally, while in Canada they are sold to parts of Europe, USA and Britain. Explain how forestry in Kenya and Canada differ in the following. Settlement of forest workers. In Kenya, forest workers are transported daily to the logging sites, while in Canada logging involves setting up a settlement for workers within a region which is to be harvested. Transportation. In Kenya, transportation of logs is done by the use of tractors and lorries, while in Canada rivers are widely used to transport logs by floating them in rivers. Tree harvesting. In Kenya, harvesting of trees is done throughout the year, while in Canada harvesting is done in winter and early spring. In Kenya, harvesting is done selectively, while in Canada clear, indiscriminate cutting of trees is done. Logging season. In Kenya, logging can be undertaken all the year round, as Kenya does not experience winter, while in Canada logging cannot take place all the year due to winter. Marketing of forest products. In Kenya, forest products are mainly sold locally, whereas forest products in Canada are mainly exported. Identify 3 training and research institutions that have been established by the Kenya government to deal with forestry. Londiani Forestry College, Kenya Forest Research Institute, International Center for Research and Agroforestry, Moi University Forestry Department. State for Environmental and Ecological Benefits of Forests. Forests protect watersheds areas from destruction through erosion. Forests check on water, soil erosion and flooding. Forests modify climate. Forest vegetation regulates carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Forests conserve biodiversity and maintain ecological diversity. Forests make the environment beautiful. The trees form a thick cover. The trees have buttress roots. The map below shows world distribution of forests. Use it to answer questions below. Name the forest vegetation marked. X. Tropical rainforest. Y. Mediterranean forest. Explain 4 ways in which the forest vegetation marked Z is adapted to the climatic conditions in the area. The needle-like leaves help to reduce the loss of water from the trees in winter when there is no moisture to be absorbed from the soil. The leaves have a tough waxy skin which protects them from winter cold. The wide shallow roots enable trees to tap water from the topsoil as the subsoil is frozen. The trees have conical shape and flexible branches which allows snow to slide easily, and minimize damage to the trees. Most of the trees are evergreen so as to have maximum utilization of sunlight during the short growing season. The tree trunks are flexible to enable them to sway without breaking during the strong winds. The trees have a tough waxy skin which protects them from winter cold. State 4 Environmental and ecological benefits of forests. Forests protect watersheds. Forests modify the climate of an area. Forests check on soil erosion and flooding. Forests conserve biodiversity and maintain ecological balance. Forests make the environment beautiful. State 4 ways applied to conserve forests in Kenya. By encouraging the practice of afforestation and reforestations. Creating public awareness through the mass media on the need to conserve forests and the methods to apply. Through legislation by enacting laws that prohibit wanton destruction of forests. By encouraging the use of alternative sources of energy other than the wood fuel to reduce cutting down trees. Forest research stations have been established to undertake research on tree species and the diseases affecting them. Creating a Department of Forestry to deal with conservation and management of forests. The establishment of the NYOT zones in order to protect human encroachment of forests by human beings. Explain 3 human problems facing forests in Kenya. Corruption by forest offices, which results in massive destruction of forests resulting in reduction of the area under forest. The degazettement of state forests, which reduces the total acreage under forest cover in Kenya. Remoteness, inaccessibility of forest areas, which hampers regular forest patrols for security reasons. Fire outbreaks in the forests due to hunters and honey, which destroys large pieces of forest reserves. Illegal logging, which destroys large parts of the forested land. Overexploitation due to the high demand for forest products, especially timber, reducing forest cover. High population growth rate, which leads to encroachment of forests due to demand for farming land and for settlement purposes. Explain 4 measures taken by the government of Kenya to control human encroachment on forested areas. By encouraging people to practice agroforestry in order to avoid depending on natural forest products. By encouraging people to use alternative sources of energy in order to reduce demand for firewood. Gazettement of forest areas in order to reduce encroachment by people. Evicting people who have illegally encroached on the forests in order to rehabilitate the forests. Employing forest guards to patrol forest reserves and report illegal activities in the forests. Enacting as well as enforcing laws that prohibits the cutting down of trees within the forested and gazette areas. Educating the general public on the need to conserve forests in order to gain their support. State 4 reasons why afforestation should be encouraged in Kenya. To ensure a continuous supply of wood fuel, timber, herbal medicine, and raw materials for paper industry. To create a beautiful scenery. To put more land under forest cover in order to check the spread of deserts, check desertification. To protect soil from erosion by wind and water. To check the extinction of indigenous trees. To create employment opportunities. To reduce importation of forest products and therefore save foreign exchange. To expand the habitat for wildlife, conserve wildlife. To protect water catchment areas, create microclimates, maintain hydrological cycle.